it's just cool, man.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode number, it's nearly the same as my age, episode 40 of Get Your Deck Out.
Halfway there, Dave.
Living on a prayer. It is me, Oliver Dave, back once again, as you heard him, Scott Levens, MTG. We are here to talk all competitive Magic, 60 card thing, community sentiment, all the good stuff.
All the complaining.
All the complaining as we gear up
Yes.
to go back down the sewer of a pre-release window. Just as we thought we had a normal Magic setback and we were back into sort of the good old days, I get informed by all of my inboxes from all of the LGSs that I've bought singles from in the UK that I can now pre-order TMNT. So we're not going to actually talk about anything to do with it. We're going to focus on the good stuff, which is the 60 card formats.
Yeah, I at least until we have the full spoiler, there's no point looking at these cards. The one thing I will point out is that most of them look like they've had an AI do the card design and it's just auto-filled and gone, what can this big card that's 9 mana do? ETB, destroy 3 creatures. Like, okay, that's really interesting and really thematic for the characters. Thanks, guys. You've really crafted this with love, like how you crafted airbending and all the limit break cards and tempted by the ring and every. Yeah, it.
But if you want to,
we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, but if you do want to hear us rant about it in the upcoming weeks, if you are here on YouTube, don't forget the sub button. On Spotify, come over and hit follow. We get told off every single upload, and apparently loads of people listen, and we tell no one to follow. So hit the follow and give us 5 stars on there and a bit of a review and rating. We're going to start doing like a flat out like giveaway to the Spotify people because like we know you're listening, we see the stats, but you ain't talking. So we'll get all those coming up in the next coming weeks. But it's still a very, very, very good standard meta. Still a very, very good time to be playing standard, and we are continually deep in the RC season. We look back on this weekend, and we will look back very, very fondly at our often forgotten friends down in South America. They had their regional championships, and lo and behold, we saw a brand new winner.
Boros Dragons.
Yeah, Boros Dragons.
Who'd have thunk it?
In the area where Willie Idell is like is the meta himself, Boros Dragons came to the top. You'd have thought people were like anti-stratting Boros Dragons. It's a bit like when I started being like the Grease fan guy in Pioneer in our local meta and everyone had all the tech cards. You'd have thought that, but no. Jose Kiga,
maybe? Wow. You've even got the first name wrong. It's Wow.
Wow. Dragons player, we love you. Well done.
Please come on an episode with us and tell us how to say your name properly.
Congratulations on your victory with this just beautifully built like Boros, like aggro / hate berry piece that we've seen like be there or thereabouts.
Have you seen there's a Spider-Man card in this deck that isn't Interdimensional Web Watch or Superior Spider-Man?
Which what have we got?
Spectacular Tactics.
That's a good old classic.
Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control against hexproof until end of turn, or destroy target creature with power 4 or greater.
Wow. The good old classic limited special, but we've got the Spider-Man version just to be able to hang out.
Sometimes the first half of that is good. Sometimes the second half of it's good. You're playing one in the main, one in the side. Fuck it. Sometimes it's good. Who knows?
Yeah, a couple of Legend of Roku's. Again, an underrated card because apparently Red's but I guess it's not underrated. It's just the red's not necessarily up there right now.
Yeah, it's more that like you want Legend of Roku in those like slightly faster mid-range decks, or in like say big red. And Boros Dragons is essentially big Boros, and
Mhm.
it is Momo into Clarion Conqueror into I'm just going to start slamming dragons until you die.
Yeah,
Just the right amount of removal, all of that. That's all it is.
and I love that magmatic Hellkites like got like that main deck play, like that sort of curve into that, just take them off curve. Like with all the Badgermore Cubs hanging around, that and Clarion
Yeah,
Conqueror.
you go like turn 1 Momo, turn 2 Clarion Conqueror, turn 3 Hellkite, they're just dead.
Yeah, and you just can't get out of it. Like you've got no counterplay. So, yeah, great outcome. I can imagine it was an interesting final because they had mono green aggro in the final. So, like a lot of the sort of earthbend shenanigans that you can do is probably cut off quite nicely.
Yeah, I
But
mean all the Badgermole Cub stuff, right? Like Badgermole Cub, Llanowar Elves is all just completely useless.
yeah, exactly.
You
So
can't even crew your lumbering world wagon.
no, everything's turned off, and like you look at the top eight, there was like three mono green landfall players. So like once they got there, Boros Dragons was probably actually the favorite in the field of what was left. Obviously, then we still had like the usual favorites. We got Demir Excruciator and a Demir mid range also up there.
People absolutely persist with playing Demir mid range.
They
And
do.
they will change 3 cards, and then someone else will top 8. It will be that person's day, and then someone else will take the deck, change 3 cards, and they'll top 8 in 3 weeks. But that's all it'll ever do.
And like all good evolutions, we always end back on Azure Beastbinder, which is which I believe is the change in this particular list, where we ended up back there.
With Earthbent Lands, it's the thing that returns it is a property of Earthbend, not a thing that's put on the creature, right? So
Yeah,
even if you have an Earthbent land and then you make it lose all its abilities and then kill it, it still comes back, I think. So it's
Judge.
well, that's how I think it works, but I'm not 100%.
We'd love to know in the comments. We'd love to hear you about
Yeah,
that
for
one.
sure. If it works in the other way, where you can like not have the Earthbent land come back, you can go turn 2 Beastbinder on the play. They go turn 2 Badgermole Cub. You go attack with my Beastbinder, null your land, and then like requiting hex it, and you've literally just strip mined them. I can see that having some real play to it.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Like there's just depth, man. Like you go down in the top 16.
Lessons, Demir Tempo, Demir Excruciator, 3 landfall, and then Azorius Flash, which I think a deck playing 4 High Noon in the main deck probably shouldn't be allowed to exist. But
this is
it's just like blue white tempos. All it is, it's just blue white Flash, right?
this is just for every deck I ever play, my nightmare deck. Like this is just sort of like the anti-Dave. Like anything I'll ever play and enjoy.
Anyone would think you sit there playing like off tempo, really greedy 4-drops, Dave, all the fucking time.
I'm gonna start with this. Nope. You're gonna start.
Nope. No, you won't.
Yeah, so shout out there, like Rodrigo Pinheiro, sort of with that flash deck. Obviously, MTG.dex, if you want to go check it out, the South American Regional Championship will link in the description. Loads of fun stuff, and probably a load of things I can start playing on stream. So if you were actually tuned into the YouTube this week, I did a little tiny stream yesterday. I got my Grease Fang wheels back on, got myself back up into Mythic. And once we get Scott in the Scott back going on the group as well, we will
we get me into my new house,
into his new abode. We will be regularly popping up, obviously trying some of the stuff that we talk about here on the pod, and you obviously listening to anything you've got as well. Only notice I noticed when I looked at the breakdown was is it a little bit of a downtick on elemental type decks. Again, you really can't see too much into that, unfortunately, due to like the regional probable price issue that could potentially kick up as well.
Yeah, I mean, Roaming Throne is roughly $1 billion now, right?
Yeah. 64 if you want 64 UK pounds is what I saw.
Ugh.
So traded a few cards in a week, and I was like, oh yeah, should I try and pick some pieces up? I was like, well, how much are they? Like thinking like, even if they were like 35, 40 quid, like I was like potentially thinking about it. Yeah, £64. I was just like, no, that's cool. You're good. Thank you. Thank you for the offer. But is it elementals still strong? Just maybe ironically getting priced out of the meta rather than necessarily
I
actually
mean,
being
it
out.
is legitimately a problem, and
Yeah.
it's. I think you can talk as far as the day is long about how good this standard format is, and it is brilliant. It's really, really good. It's really, really fun. But just using mtgdex.net, which I assume uses TCG player pricing, but the prices 503, 575, 545, 613, 659, 622, 473, 574, 600, like 500, 600, 184. That's the budget deck. 600, 400, 930 for standard decks.
Well, we posted a short about 3 months ago. I think it was at the start of the spotlights before Christmas, and the short was us taking the mick out of the fact that a standard deck was $540, and right now, like that is way above average.
That's middle
Average,
of the
yeah.
road. Like,
There's the one Simic or board list I got here. When you click on it and you go to put it into your card kingdom cart, will cost you £1,189. Now that's just too much. Like, and again, this it's forever been. If you were a standard warrior like me, it's forever been like your argument for maybe not playing as much modern as others is. Oh, I don't want to spend that much on a deck. I literally was in the same cart this week, just filling out my modern deck with cards that were actually cheaper than my standard deck, and that is just something that needs paying attention to, and something that needs to definitely be looked at if standard's going to stay healthy and stay around.
It's part of the issue with what they've been doing over the last couple of years, right? And not only is this going to be part of a problem that is just endemic to moving to a 3-year standard where you've got more sets where only 1 or 2 cards are actually seeing play, which then means those cards are going to take most of the burden of the value of the set, with MSRP going up, with cards like Badger Mole Cub, which, let's be real, if you're playing them, you're playing 4 of them. Putting them at mythic, not rare, it's just going to cause problems routinely. Like Badger Mole Cub as a card could have been a rare. Absolutely could have been.
Easily, yeah.
Stuff like One Shitong, even something like Quantum Riddler, it's got some weird text on it. It's got a replacement effect that happens in your draw step whenever you draw a card. Whereas Badger Mole Cub is just, you get some extra mana and it's got a key mechanic of the set. And like Aang Swift Savior is more of a figurehead of Avatar, but that's only a rare. And it doesn't matter how many of these you play, you need 4. And with Badger Mole Cub being, 60 quid, $70, whatever it is, it's too much. And when you have a situation like when the Elementals deck popped up with Roaming Throne already had a lot of strain on its supply because of Commander. And yeah, it's a rare. It absolutely should be. But now it's $70. But the issue is the rest of Lost Caverns of Ixalan sucks. So
Yeah.
Roaming Throne has taken the entire price burden of basically that entire set, aside from it was like Mana Crypt on the special guest, but that one's still banned in Commander. So
Yeah, Cavern of Souls as well. But then
sure. But then Cavern of Souls is only 20, 25 quid now.
yeah, and Cavern of Souls is effectively retained the price Cavern of Souls should be. It's almost arguably one of the best lands possible in the whole game. Like, so arguably, like
I don't think there's an argument. If you start looking at vintage, you're saying Tolarian Academy, Serra Sanctum, Guy's Cradle, Wasteland, Strip Mine. Come on now.
Well,
Behave.
I probably should have my legacy hat on, knowing that we're walking
Well,
into a legacy weekend, shouldn't I?
yeah,
So,
we'll move on to that, shall we? Basically, standard's great, but it's too fucking expensive. Next.
well, no, I don't think we can move on, because ultimately, like, it's the burden's been seen all the way across the internet, and like that sort of leads on to sort of, if you on my ex earlier today, and I noticed Mengu dropping a little banger. Please allow stores to run these event formats that aren't exclusively in standard. I want to compete in events locally with a niche price support for WotC. No one plays standard in my area. These events aren't firing. It was Andrea Mengucci was calling out that somebody's basically like farmed six of the cats because they're playing in effectively what, like, ghost standard events, because there isn't that many people playing in, especially in like the European area. I retweeted that because it was obviously very interesting for me. Like, I'm not going to necessarily sit here and say our standard is popping and vibing, but we have some players, like, we have people who play it, and like the events have more than four. Like that. Yeah, okay, like some of them are like just 6 to 8 or even potentially 10. But
Yeah, so I mean, we ran our store champs as like a rebound for the RCQ. So for
yeah,
the people that aren't aware, we are going to be stepping away from TOing, at least locally. We're still going to be looking at doing the Get Your Deck Out events UK wide, but maybe less work being done locally. So it was a bit of a sayonara for us, but we still had, what was it, like 8 for the store champs?
yeah, it was like 8, 9 in the actual store champs. But it was interesting to sort of like pop the comments, because effectively Wenger's coming along and saying, can we just try other formats? And Pauper Modern, without a doubt, in like Europe in general, are the favored event. Like, you can stick Dual Commander into that as even maybe, I'd even potentially say that's probably the order, is probably Modern, Pauper, Dual Commander, and then Standard. That's probably the actual order of events. And I sort of like asked the Twitter that, and it was interesting to see, like, there's there's not like a genuine consensus, and like, this is a while now. I think we're probably into at least the third year, if not through the third year of the enforced standard store champ, Scott. So before we look at some of the replies, what should we do next?
I I think going from an angle of let people run what they want is better, and you can support the local little microcosms of community where they pop up. Like, for example, in Cardiff, we get standard players. We have a nice pauper scene that ticks over, but far and away we have the most modern players. And especially when the promo is an Ocelot Pride and we're moving into modern RCQ season, we'd feel a lot better saying, hey, we'll do like a 15 quid entry, 20 quid entry modern winner box, but also do it as a store champs. And you'll pull loads of people for that. It's not a huge cost for the store that's running it. They just need to throw a box at you, and then what's a box now? Like 160 quid? So you get 8 players at 20 quid each.
Yeah, for sure.
Then
Yeah.
that's your box paid for. You've got those players in the store buying drinks, buying snacks, whatever. Realistically, if you said 20 quid win a box, and also there's Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, all of that on the line as well, you'd get even more people in the door. But if that doesn't work for you and you don't have a lot of modern players, just run it as pauper. Someone even said limited should be allowed, the same way it is for the RCQ seasons. Whatever. Give people more ways to play the formats that they enjoy and the formats that they're entrenched with, because we're at the point now where if you have a pauper deck and a legacy deck and a modern deck and a standard deck and a commander deck, and you can then afford to draft on top of that, you're in the 0.001% of this game.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough that I'm in that position where I've been irresponsible with my money for long enough where I've got that collection built up. I know, Dave, you're pretty much at that point as well, but this is our main hobby. This is what we spend a huge amount of our time doing. We started a podcast dedicated to talking about this shit. we are dedicated to the game. We are the entrenched players. We're not going anywhere. We're not the ones that WotC should be worrying about. Who WotC should be worrying about are the people that go, I really like Avatar. They go out and they buy all the cards for Is It Lessons because it's got all the Avatar cards in it that they like, or they buy Allies, ban airbending, take your pick. We spoke last week about how they did a really good job like seeding those decks and how they called it out in the banned and restricted announcement as intentional and how that was a good thing. But you need to give these people reasons to go to these events. If it's Pauper and they can buy a Pauper deck for 30 quid, that's a different proposition than, hey, go out and spend £500 and you have to do all the admin of buying it, like of physically buying it. You can't just go out and buy Challenger decks. They exist. They're not very good. But you can't just go out and buy Challenger decks and play a Pioneer tournament like I did once upon a time.
Yeah.
And did absolutely fine because I bought 2 of the Phoenix precons and it was just fine.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore. They need to let people play what they want to play, but also make it cheaper and easier to play.
Yeah, like we actually took a little bit of a trip across our hometown to a store on Friday. A few of us, where they were gracious enough to run their store champs as standard, despite being a regular limited spot. And again, I looked at that. And I went, well, hey, look, there's like 6 of us playing for a store champ, like for Ossop Pride. But you've got a full, you've got a full draft pod, with Sergeant, like shout out, like he was actually
so 7 or 8 weeks in a row.
I think we've hit 8, sure. And that sort of shows like we're like, limited can still fire, and actually this week, like I'm actually popping out to a Strixhaven draft, like a Strixhaven flashback draft. People are still playing, like they're still playing around. Like, have a reason for like their community to continue to play, to continue to put the effort in, so that then once every 2 months, as it is now with the way the sets are rotating, they can have some kind of like pinnacle, almost like this sort of like, hey, I'm the champ moment, which in whatever format they're in. We had literally that spectrum. Like obviously we had a friend of the pod, Francis Tyler. The Unity League UK representative, just basically say, "Yep, Pauper only, please, or modern only." Yeah, shut up, Francis.
We get it. You like Pauper.
You like Pauper, right? Jeez, goodness me.
Anyone would think he'd win more at it. Ooh.
There was a couple of takes on, like don't be standard, like no one's playing, we just want to play for the promos. Just one response, yes. Now my question didn't actually warrant just yes. So like shout out
Alexander.
Just went yes.
Just yes.
And then we had Dennis who came along and said they disagree with Mengu here. It's clearly what's his problem for the design, and they should be more active in removing deterrence too. I can kind of see the point.
Yeah, I assume part of that is like the prohibitive price entry point and like giving people more reasons to play and get out and actually go and play the game, and getting the numbers out, getting people off of Arena and into the game stores.
I think though, like we're starting to like narrow down the sort of like secret scroll of like how far ahead they can be. We've talked a long time about promos needing to have to be of good value, and I still feel like we don't have that from them yet.
I mean, these promos have good value. I'm not complaining about these promos. These promos, Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, Goblin Bombardment, sick. You're leading into a modern RCQ season. You're giving people modern promos, sick. Excellent work.
But they're probably around about a year ago when this was sort of being considered, and this would have been just as Boris Energy was like a peak Boris Energy sort of, and part of me goes, oh right, we need to give them like an 18-month lead time. The Strixhaven bonus sheet got revealed, like officially revealed. For a while, I'll actually talk about it. Some of the early access on it, and stock ups actually on it. Now,
They always knew Stock Up was going to be good, though.
yeah, Lockup has been out as of recording a year today.
Yeah, but it's
Like,
obvious it's going to be good. Like, that's not weird.
but they need to get ahead. They can get ahead of these decisions, is what I'm kind of like pointing at. So, like,
But it depends really heavily on what you're talking about. Because if I showed you Ragavan 5 years ago, geez, how long ago was Ragavan printed? It might have been about 5 years ago. If I showed you Ragavan 10, 15 years ago, when we're all still playing with Snapcaster Mage in Modern, and it was like one of the best creatures. If I showed you Ragavan, you'd punch me in the face. And you say, well, of course it's instantly banned. It's bullshit. That's obviously like a joke card. And now, what decks play Ragavan? Boros Energy. That's it. That's it. Do you remember when everyone was saying Ren and 6 should be banned in Modern?
I remember pulling one in a double Masters.
Yeah, and it was like draft. 80 quid.
Yeah, instant 80 quid. Like print and
I've still got Ren and 6s. Do you want to know how much they are now?
10, 15?
Yeah, somewhere around that.
Yeah.
Naffle. And I played Omnath most recently. I bought myself my Vibrances. I bought myself my Wistfulnesses. I sleeved up my Risen Reefs. I was all happy. I had Ren and 6 in my deck, and every time I drew it, it felt awful. Not even close to playable, let alone good. I'd rather it have been Life from the Loam and Seismic Assault, because at least then I'd be doing unplayable stuff that was fun. And yeah, that is a problem with Modern. It's a problem with if people want to just sit there and call it power creep, then they can do that. I don't think Ren and 6 is a card that's been power crept. I think it's just not well positioned right now. But if we had Ragavan as the Store Champs promos, we'd still be happy. And it only sees play in Boros. Ocelot Pride, you have the fringe, like blue-white blink decks that play Ocelot Pride that are basically mono-white with Quantum Riddler.
Yeah.
But you can make these safe bets. They looked at Stock Up and they went, well, that's just going to be popular and it's at the right power level. It goes on the bonus sheet. Like, put Galvanic Discharge on that bonus sheet. It's obvious that that was going to see play because the people that design this game know a hell of a lot more than both of us, Dave, and to you, dear listener, they know a lot more than you as well. You might be sitting there thinking, I know how to fix this game. I could do a good job. And some of you might be able to contribute. Yeah, some of you might be able to positively contribute. I imagine the vast, vast majority of you have never worked in game design. I've never worked in game design either. We wouldn't have the first clue of how to make more than 10 Magic cards. You'd walk in that office, you'd sit down with people who've played Pro Tours, who've won Pro Tours, who've won World Championships. They've been designing this game for 25 years, and everything that came out of your mouth would either have been said before or be stupid.
That is true. People don't really get like there's science to this art as well.
To quote Doug in the Discord earlier, is it a problem that Magic players' favorite thing to do about this game is complain about it?
That needs to be on a playmat, I think. see it in the shop next week. Yeah.
When we get it started, baby, we'll have that. We'll have not financial advice. Just play a braid. Fuck it.
That's why you're gonna be. So you're gonna be 7. We are pretty close. So obviously, if you all obviously do just leave this on, play us nice and sweetly whilst you're doing your Tuesday your Tuesday Excel spreadsheet.
If you're playing, if you see someone playing Magic out in public, shout at them.
Go get your deck out.
But so Jen's sister does not play Magic. She only knows what Magic is from talking to me about it. And she was in a local pub in Cardiff and she saw 2 people playing Magic. And she recognized Magic because, I mean, look at my desk. It is just a mound of Magic cards at this point. And she came home and she was like, give me some of your stickers. Because that's like multiple times she's seen people out in public playing Magic. And there's every chance they don't know what Firestorm is. There's every chance they don't know what a local game store is. They've definitely never heard of us, and they might not even know what an RCQ is, let alone the store champs.
Yeah.
They might be playing Freeform. They might have found Standard online. They might watch Jim Davis or Mengu's videos or something like that, or they watch Card Market. Whatever. We want people like that to be brought into the community, right? Because then you can tell them about these events, and that's how we can get store champs with 14 players.
Yeah, exactly.
Good promos, good start.
Yeah.
Reduce the price of standard decks, get more people playing. Done.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's definitely something that when they talk the whole like, hey, look at the numbers, like they're not pulling them out of thin air. They are
good save. They're not pulling them out of their thin air.
We still want to go to Amsterdam. Let Vela treat them nice.
I will ignore the fact that I've sworn 4 times in half an hour. But
it's okay. That's okay. Edgy. It's all right. You can be edgy. Yeah. Just don't shoot the mothership. That's all we got to do.
For the 16-year-old kids out there, mate, I'll criticize WotC when they screw up, but I also think that people give them a lot of undue criticism. And if he is listening, I know Blake Rasmussen has previously liked some of your tweets, Dave. Shout out to you, because you take an inordinate amount of hell, and let's be real, with the amount of cards that gets designed and with how long this game's been going, it is a literal miracle that Vintage or even Legacy are even close to playable formats, and that you can actually have engaging games of Magic within them. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, like Legacy, and we'll now nicely segue across to that, is our
I got you, baby.
Our main event of our Saturday event this coming Saturday. So if you are listening anywhere in the week commencing the 16th, you first get your deck out. Super Saturday is live at
I think Super Saturday might be trademarked.
Oh, no way. Like
for the football.
By the football. Okay. The first Saturday that's Super is taking place in Bath with association with Bath TCG. We've got a Legacy main event where if we hit the 50 players, and we are very close, I believe at the time we're recording now, we're at 39. We're going to give an underground sea or an underwater sea, as I said at some point in the Discord.
I think it was 2 weeks ago on the podcast, actually, mate. But
it was.
I think it was live on the podcast, and you got lambasted for it in the comments, and you deserved it.
I did. But it's signed by the artist as well, so it's actually in the stuff now. Obviously, if you don't hit it, it still will be available. Part of the credit for winning the whole tournament, you can trade it off. But we're gonna do a really great deal if we hit that number. We got an RCQ. The RCQ, I can tell people, is firing. So if you are just a standard person and you just want to play standard, you want to qualify for Prague, you can come down and play that. You can come see us. We are still fingers crossed in on internet connection. If the internet connection is good, we will be doing some coverage. If you want to play the Legacy, it is also playtest friendly as well. So that is something that we would encourage. If you still want to try an older format, you get on, you print your deck off really well, and obviously make sure the cards do represent the fact that they are playtest if you're doing that, because these are expensive things. But yeah, we'd love to get people on the journey to actually come in.
Can we get a pre-modern tournament in at some point? Because I've been getting really into pre-modern as well.
We sure can. Let's hear in the comments about you pre-modern fans. Maybe the follow-up to this is actually going to be like a pre-modern pints or something like that.
Pre-modern and pauper?
Pre-modern, what game 1 pre-modern, game 2 pauper, game 3 just Rochambeau?
Three rounds of pre-modern, 2 rounds of pauper, and then top 8 is a draft.
Oh, sounds like
it'll be like 70 quid entry, because that's the only way that we can make it viable with current WotC MSRP.
So, sounds like the Get Your Deck Out Invitational just wrote itself. But yeah, if you are there, the link for tickets are in the description. We will be capping, so actually, do buy the tickets you want to come.
If you're listening to this and you want to come and you've been planning to buy your ticket, because otherwise you might just not get a spot.
Because we're also sharing the building with the weekly Pokemon, not weekly, the challenge that they do, and Bath is like one of the bigger scenes for Pokemon. So it's going to be like 200 card gamers in the room, which is going to be incredible. So
Little mini GP, let's go.
and Bar TCG have got one of the growing singles market, and they are buy-in, right? So if you want to come along to the event and you want to shift some rares, they are actively buying at the event. They got their buy list on the website. So yeah, Scott is literally prepping up as we speak. But yeah, look
Well,
forward to
I don't know if I'll be able to make it to that legacy event. So if you're a fan of the podcast and you're coming down to meet me in particular, I'm sorry, I'm still moving house. I promise you, listeners, it will be done soon. I promise you, I'm more sick of it than you are. But this lovely background, the guinea pig cage in the background that you can sometimes see just off camera, if you sometimes hear them squeaking or thundering around, that will all be different. I'm not getting rid of the guinea pigs; they're just going to be in a different room. But
yeah, we got a studio to set up.
I'm going to have a mic arm. It's no longer going to be balanced on a Tupperware to bring it to the appropriate height. I will have a proper desk, not a small desk where one of my monitors is half hanging off of it. I'm excited, but I need to get the work done.
He's also nervous because it means that I'll give him tasks. He'd be like,
yeah, well, also that.
We got more questions though. I think we're at a point where we are about to, yes, dear listener, go back into spoiler season. So because of that, let's distract ourselves with some happier copium.
Can we go? I'm gonna pick the one out of this that I actually really enjoyed writing down my answers for, and then we'll go top down in this list.
Okay,
I've sent
cool.
you. So the question that I really enjoyed was name 7 cards, so one of each color, so white, blue, black, red, green, colorless and multicolored, that is currently played in Modern, or I took this as legal in Modern, that you would like to see reprinted into Standard.
Cool.
Do you want to give your list first, or do you want me to give my list first?
Your list overall, I think, is better than my list but I think that there's some cards that have seen a bit of Modern play, seen fringe Modern play. I think you could release it to current Standard and they'd figure it out. Maybe not all at the same time, because some of these cards enable combos with each other.
I'm also ignoring Pioneer impact for this because, let's be real, rip Pioneer, that format's dead.
Yeah, and one thing we discussed about before the pod is like the annoyance that we get when people talk about printing a Pioneer Masters. And that's bullshit in this, Scott. Like, they're not asking for Pioneer Masters. They're asking
they want Pioneer Horizons. They want like new. They're not asking for a reprint of all the cards in Pioneer, which is what a Master set is. They're asking for a Horizon style set where they're like, no, like give us some stuff for Pioneer to fix some problems without having to run them through Standard.
Yeah,
so
you want a different format.
Better counter magic is something that has been asked for in Pioneer for a long time. They got No More Lies. That was basically it. But if you're not blue-white, you can't play that. So one of those, there might actually be a counter spell in my list, David. So,
well, my list. Let's do the
we'll go for yours. We'll go for yours.
For the stuff of different colors that I liked, I think Life Gain hasn't seen any play in Standard for a very, very long time. I think for that reason, you could bring back Heliod Sudden Crowned. I think you could right now, and I think it would just be very, very powerful. But I think it's something that they could give a go. I think the reality would be is they would probably bring it back a little bit nerfed. But I think something like that is a really good card to sort of like,
just like a really good, really robust Life Game payoff, basically.
Yeah, it's almost like, can we have it, but not exactly it, which is sort of my request on that. I feel like this is a pet ask because I know historic's a dirty word, but I really love playing with this card in that. The Samwise Ganji, the green and
The green white one.
The Silesia one, where like you play legendaries, you make a food, and you kind of like procure the food. So the classic thing in modern is the Sam Cat combo, effectively, which is just basically shitter Yawgmoth. But I think for that reason, as a card, and the fact that they would have to be you have to play specific synergies, I think it's totally fine for that to come through standard right now at this point. That would be a big one there. We had an overlap on like colorless things because of enjoyment. So I won't go into like my colorless world, because I think you can have that one.
The
But
interesting thing for colorless, which I didn't consider until I wrote my answer down, was you could put lands in there.
Oh, yeah, you could. You could. I didn't think that one, though, but I'll leave your card there. But my black one was Warren Soul Trader. I think Warren Soul Trader is totally fine in a standard world. It really would be. Like, it's very powerful. Like,
yeah, it might be a little aggressive with stuff like Bloodghast in the format, but I think good sack outlets are something that's missing from standard for sure.
yeah, and like just that sort of something to make Sephiroth be worth the money, I guess, would be the
yeah. No, you know what? Sick.
yeah, it would be the thing. Do you know what? I think we could have Snapcaster Mages standard right now as well. That was my blue take as well. Like, I just don't think there's any reason not to pick. You mentioned counter magic.
Put it in Pioneer, man. Let us
Yeah.
play with Snapcaster again.
I think Snapcaster would just be okay.
Did it with Dark Confidant. Did it with Lily of the Veil. Do it with Snapcaster. Ruin everything I love.
The thing with green is, I would actually say green Sun Zenith, but we basically had it with Nature's Rhythm. So
yeah, I don't think you want 8 of that effect.
so like I can't really. Couldn't really think of a green card that like I'd love, like Utopia Sprawl. I love playing.
Yeah,
that
like
in,
some. I think it's some sort of different ramp piece sometimes. Like I spoke to my partner about this, and she said Explore, which I think was a really good answer as well.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like Utopia Sprawl, but a bit fixed.
Yeah, so like and you look at the green landfall deck right now, which I think, like, obviously it got the finals on the weekend. It's there or thereabouts and stuff. I think like the great thing would be able to like turn 3 a 5-drop. Like,
yeah, but it's called Mono Green Landfall, but it's not really like an Explore Sakura Tribe Elder Primeval Titan ramp deck, is it? It's a mid range deck that has landfall elements.
Yeah. The red card for me, again, this is just such a Grease fan gamer, like, own personally. I'd love to see Goblin Engineer. I think, like, looking ahead,
Brave with Agatha's Soul Cauldron in the format.
Yeah, and also looking ahead to some of like the obvious artifact synergies right now we've seen with
Monument to Endurance as well. Oh,
it would be so efficient. It would be so efficient.
Yeah,
but
maybe too much, but
to make it legendary or something silly like that, you would have to just
I'll make it cost like, well, so you say that we've got is it Doretti Scrap Savant?
Yeah, that's
from Eighth Adrift. It's 5 mana, I think, but it's ETB or attack, trash for treasure. So you sack an artifact, get an artifact immediately, and we've already got stuff like Extinguisher Battleship from Edge of Eternities. So you could be doing some sort of Doretti big red thing. Like, just give us like Chromox and Ancient Tomb. Why not? Let me do Doretti on turn 3.
I just think my take for Goblin Engineer is it just doesn't seem to just get there in the what one's currently got available. So on that basis, that if you could just step it back a step, you just want to step it back a step,
give it a chance somewhere else, right? Like,
yeah. And
for what it's worth, I've tried Goblin Engineer in Modern. It's not good.
Yeah, it's just it's a cool card that does a cool thing, but just doesn't do enough of the thing.
Well, yeah, it in and of itself is like a fixed Goblin Welder, right? That's the joke.
And before we go to like your Farron, my honourable mention of I didn't say this. I went the white life gain route. Like my pet love would be to see Esper Sentinel see some play.
No, that's too much for standard,
But it
homie.
is way too much for standard. I sat there and I thought like that would just be busted. But unfortunately, I looked at that. That was one of my first. When I look back to when I started playing just as on the Mono Horizons 2 was just still on the shelves. And I remember
Stop
like
making me feel old.
I remember pulling an Esper Sentinel and being absolutely over the moon because it was a great
Zazzed with it, yeah.
and it was like £9 and I was like, yeah, baby, I got a £9 card. And then
Now
it
they're
just
like 40, I think.
yeah, it
They're
just
like
being
real money now.
yeah. So just good, yeah, good stuff all around. That's where I am. You are much more entrenched in the trenches of this. So you go ahead. Start though with what
I
you picked the colorless. So we got our overlap.
I was sitting there eating my dinner, writing this list because I enjoyed it so much. For colorless, and again, much like one of your answers, my colorless answer is predicated on banning Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but Walking Ballista. It's just cool, man. When you're not doing the crappy like combos with it, when it's not Heliod Ballista or Soul Cauldron Ballista, when it's just a guy being a dude and just being a good card, that's great. We've already got Market Back Walker. It wouldn't be a problem. I think you genuinely could print Walking Ballista and it would just be fine.
Oh boy, ballista combo. I can see that one
Yeah,
coming.
but yeah, okay, great. You
But look at
played
the steps you
you
have to
played
go through.
yeah,
Yeah.
you played a 4-drop creature and then you played a Walking Ballista and you untapped with it 3 times. Cool, crack on.
Yeah, yeah.
The other like considerations in that space would be like the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty channel lands. I'd just have them legal at all times.
Yeah. It was a better place.
Beseiju might be a bit much, but like Takanuma, Otawara, Sakenzan, and Iganjo are all absolutely perfect in terms of power level.
Yeah, I obviously, like I say, recently played a little bit more Pioneer on Arena, and I was like, you should having to consider them, even when you've got things like a Voice of Victory effect down and stuff like that. Just that, like that a little bit. Like we always talk
Yeah.
about like the creeps of power. Like yeah, okay, I'm not got any free spells in the format, but I got like this thing that will get around the feature. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's a very good call.
What do you want next?
Let's hear what you put at red.
Red, Chandra Torture Defiance.
Yeah,
I would that is a very specific answer because I specifically really love Chandra, but I take any 4-mana red planeswalker that can run away with a game better than Chandra Spark Hunter, because Chandra Spark Hunter is the one from Aether Drift that makes vehicles, and it is so nearly there. It just doesn't quite do enough. It needed like a removal mode on it, and then you start spitting out vehicles and take over the game. So like Koth of the Hammer back in the good old days, Chandra Torture Defiance, like something like that. Chandra Pyromaster, maybe it's probably too weak now, but you can tweak the numbers. Something like that to give red more of an identity in standard instead of other colors are splashing red for removal, or it's balls to the wall mono red aggro, and that's basically it. Like that's what part of the reason why I love Boros Dragons so much is like I am a Spike like through and through. We both are. That's part of the point of this podcast. People casting massive dragons is cool, and it should happen more often. I so nearly put Glorybringer on that list because I was like, Boros Dragons, you go turn 2 Clarion Conqueror, turn 3 Magmatic Halkite, turn 4 Glorybringer, kill you. Screw Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest, who's she? Give me Glorybringer. So, in fact, screw it. Chandra and Glorybringer. I'm violating my own rules.
That's fine. And everybody who's listening, those of you who thought that Scott would just pick modern, straight to modern cards, literally, we're not on about we're on about reprints that would matter.
You could do lightning bolt. It's just not interesting.
Yeah, like what does it changes numbers having having a 3 mana having 3 damage rather than 2 damage, but it's not gonna be the impact that we want.
Yeah, and also you're playing into bad actors who are just going to do all balls to the wall mono red burn that just stress test the format in the wrong way when it's too fast, and lightning bolt can exacerbate that.
You take the Durdley 3-drop, the 3-drop that does nothing out of the format, then, don't you? And that's
exactly. And like lightning bolt will test 3-drops that accrue value over time a lot more than a 3-drop that gets immediate value. And there's already enough of a problem in the game at the minute with things having to have immediate value and not have long-term accrual. Like Tireless Tracker could be printed in standard right now. Wouldn't see that much play. It'll be all right, probably in mono green landfall. It'll be all right, but it's like a 2 of in the sideboard. It wouldn't be insane, and that's before.
So what about your green pick? You have your green, black, or blue?
I want. I think Llanowar Elves existing stresses decks towards mono green too much, as opposed to them being green X. And similar to you, how you said Samwise Gamgee, where I enjoyed some of the legendary cross synergies from like the Esper Rafine decks, like Esper Legends. Like, I think at times it was too much, blah, blah, blah. Plaza of Heroes was probably too good a card. But playing a bunch of legends together, it was an interesting deck building challenge, and it made the games really interesting as well. I could see Delighted Halfling. It's really powerful, do not get me wrong, but it's way worse in mono green than Llanowar Elves, because it doesn't tap for green, it only taps for colorless. But then if you want to play, say, green-white mid-range, and you want to do turn 1 ramp card, turn 2 Ajani Outland Chaperone, right now you can't do that. If you wanted to take away Delighted Halfling and put in Elves of Deep Shadow or Avacyn's Pilgrim, something like that, it honestly could even see Birds of Paradise. If we're going to have Llanowar Elves and Foundations, give me a different mana dork that is at least similar to it, where I can have a different identity if I don't want to play just mono green or heavy mono green. Because you want to play Golgari, you basically have to play Llanowar Elves, but then it shuts you out of half the cards you want to play because you're going to be playing Keen-Eyed Curator, not something like Graveyard Trespasser, for example. So I think something like that, I put Delighted Halfling down, but I could see a lot of them. But just something to give green decks a different identity than, I play turn 1 Llanowar Elves, I play 2 Badger Mole Cubs on turn 2, turn 3, I win.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a bit more identity than that.
Yeah, something that will force a second, third color, and
have them be 2, 3 color decks. Have there be benefits to being monocolor. Do all of it.
So you got some good removal pieces in black to sort of offset this Delighted Halfling.
Black was one where I really got stuck because my first thought was Thoughtseize would be fine, right? And then I thought about it and I was like, probably not. Don't care about Fatal Push. Like, you've already got Requite and Hex. It's not close enough, but I also think Fatal Push is a little bit too much for standard. It's what I said, right, about like the Lightning Bolt problem where I go turn 3 Tireless Tracker and you go Fatal Push it, play a 2-drop, and I'm like, cool, I've just lost the game. I'd rather have a creature. I'd rather have a creature, preferably at CMC 2 or greater. And I got stuck between Douthie Voidwalker and Orcish Bowmasters. And I do Orcish Bowmasters purely to offset Quantum Riddler.
Wow, it would be like a spot on hit. And we are
also Lamau Lessons.
Yeah.
Nice artist talent, idiot. Take 9.
Look, we are getting Hobbit. Like,
why not?
we got the potential for the precedent of that Lord of the Rings set where, yeah, there was loads of great to modern cards.
Give me all the land cyclers.
But with,
Eagles of the North, Lorien Revealed, Oliphant, Troll of Khazad-dûm, Generous End, all of it. Give me all 5.
I think that you could reprint 75% of that original Lord of the Rings set into this Hobbit set.
But
Into
Reprieve in standard, man. Like,
Oh,
Reprieve
Reprieve in
would be
standard would
great.
be perfect.
Yeah.
It would be such a good card. Yeah. I think that's what I'd love to see out of this Hobbit set is pretty much like a pseudo reprint
Give us
set.
nostalgia for Lord of the Rings.
Take us back to that wonderful heady summer of 2024. Was it 2024?
Lord of
Oh
the Rings,
dear, we've been playing this game too
MTG.
long, Scott.
Sorry, Mister. Yeah, it's 2023. Lord of the Rings was nearly 3 years ago.
Oh my days.
Yeah, you were saying, I was starting to play when MH2 was still on the shelves. Motherfucker, I remember Innistrad. And I'm not old. I'm not an old school player. Go speak to Doug. Go speak to Bowers. I talk about back in the good old days, and for most people, they were playing the game for 12 years.
Crazy.
This is an old ass game, man. Right, so I've got 3 more. Right, I've got white, blue, and multicolored.
Yes, battle them off.
What do you want?
Multicolored.
Vindicate.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
think you know what? I've been playing a lot of pre-modern. Land Destruction's fine.
Yeah, Vindicate's fine.
Put Stone Rain in standard.
Yeah, I like
nice
that.
bossing, say, idiot.
Yeah, just job done on that one.
Yeah.
No notes. That's totally fine.
I think in general they should put more good multicolored cards into the format, though. Give me more of a reason to not go, I have my blue-red deck. It is a combination of blue spells and red spells, and I have one multicolored spell that's busted in Rao or whatever. Give me Dreadbore, Collarhand's Command, Growth Spiral. Like, if you're going to put good mana in standard with Shocklands and Verges, give me reasons to truly care about both colors. Give me stuff like No More Lies, but give me it in every color pair. Why isn't Lingering Souls in standard? Why wasn't that in Foundations? Like, give me all of this. Give me reasons to be multicolored.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree on that. That's a really good shout. But we got the potential for counter magic in blue, so let's just go there.
Mana leak.
Yeah, like
why is it just No More Lies, man? If not Mana Leak, Remand. I know we talked about printing Reprieve in the Hobbit set as well. I think honestly, straight up Counterspell would also be fine. It's blue. That's pretty difficult. A bunch of the Verges are in the wrong color for that. Because I think Flood Farm Verge is white on the front half. The blue-green one is blue on the front half, but who the hell is playing blue-green? The red-blue one is red on the front half. The blue-black one is blue on the front half, I think. So that one would be quite good. But what are you even counterspelling right now? Like, oh no, we don't just instantly lose to my opponent going Deceit, Superior Spider-Man. I can actually counterplay it without having to have Essence Scatter and hope that they draw the Superior Spider-Man and not just like 5 Consult the Star Charts and stock ups.
Yeah.
Mana Leak would be fine, but Counterspell, I think, honestly, would just be fine.
Well, I think there was that period where we had Make Disappear in Streets of New Capenna, where I felt like you had some serious counter magic there. Which
Make Disappear was really elegant as well because it got so much better if you just played some creatures. So it dragged you away from the whole my win condition is like 2 creature lands and that's it. Like, shout out Gabe Nassif for the win condition being screw you, I'm Gabe Nassif. And actually playing creatures and actually beating your opponent in the head with them. Like, I think Wan Shi Tong is fantastic for that, where it's a control piece, and it is a control piece. It's normally an Ambush Viper that draws you some cards. But when you've got a 5/5 flying vigilance, you smack your opponent in the head with it a couple of times. They are going to die very quickly.
Yeah, and finally, your white card.
people know me as a blue-white control gamer at this point, and if they've ever talked to me about Standard, they've probably heard me talking about how much I think Get Lost sucks. And I don't really like Seam Rip very much. I like Hang's Iceberg, that's okay. I got stuck. Depends on the power level that you want, right? Where at first I was like, something like Journey to Nowhere, where it's just 2 mana, exile any creature. But then I went, nah, we can do better than that. Oust. So for the people who aren't as old as I am or haven't vintage cubed as much as I have, Oust is white sorcery, put target creature into its owner's library second from the top, and they gain 3 life. So it's sorcery speed, so it's not really a problem. It's not just like Path to Exile where it just deletes whatever you point at all times. But also I think giving your opponent the land is kind of stinky. Like, let them redraw the card, let them gain the life, it's fine. It's just to stop these snowbally 1 and 2 mana creatures from truly taking over the game, but doing it in a way where you're not shoving your own advantage. Because you're giving them life, you're giving them time. So if you oust a Badgermole Cub, you get time.
You get like 3 turns.
Yeah,
right?
you get time, and that's what you get. You don't need to go kill your Badgermole Cub, hit you for 6, kill your next thing, hit you for 4, blah, 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 and like really shove it like that. That's not what oust does. But just being able to get your feet underneath you and actually play a reasonable control deck that isn't insanely greedy on mana so they can play all the removal that they need to, or they're relying on other people not being able to beat, say, a main board Rest in Peace, which Jeskai Control can play. It's a card that's, I think, needed, honestly, is just like good, cheap removal in most colors. Like blue has Into the Flood, more bounce off. Green has, I suppose, is it Meltstrider's Resolve, the fight card? But
yeah,
green, but green also has the best threats at the minute, especially Badgermole Cub. Black has Requiting Hex, Stab, Bitter Triumph, a million of them. Red has Burst Lightning, Seer, Torch the Tower. White has Seam Rip, which is crap. Ang's Iceberg, which is 2 mana, and Get Lost, which is rancid. Give them good removal. How's that?
Sounds like White needs a bit of a reprieve.
Hey,
specifically reprieve. But yeah, well, we
could
hope
be prismatic ending as well. That's my spicy one right for the end. That could
that would be quite spicy. We'll probably see quite a few prismatic endings during the weekend. Obviously, that's coming up, and please pay attention to the coverage. If you're not following us on Twitch, you'll not see any more prismatic endings, because we'll be on Twitch and we'll be on YouTube. Again, fingers crossed for the internet. Hopefully we can get the full coverage going from the day. Worst case, we'll be there recording everything as we get through. If you can get down, you'll definitely see me. Outside chance you'll see Scott, but we hope. Nah, very little chance. No chance.
I think I'm literally moving house that weekend. So,
he's finally made it. Yay. We will be saying goodbye to the Lauren Standard season and ushering in our Turtle Overlords on Monday. Talking about how things are going to change or stay exactly the same. You stay exactly the same and come back next week, Tuesday at some point, where we will be talking about competitive Magic, constructed Magic, and hopefully have Scott in a new location. For now, go get your decks out, and we'll see you on the next one. For everyone, if Dave hasn't made this the thumbnail,
I'm going to get him to put it up on the screen now. But have you seen the wonderful edit by Nuno of the Doomsday Excruciator?
I actually did look at that, and I was going to go.
If that isn't in the thumbnail, it needs to be on screen right now.
No, I'll put this on the thumbnail because it's such an easy one. Like,
all stars grow dark, all worlds come to an end.
just this black background. This standard is awesome, and just like my face going. Oh, thanks for listening, everyone. See you on the weekend.
Bye, love you.